Welcome back. Dr. Sanjeev Bagai and Dr. Rakesh Mishra are with us today to help us understand few critical issues regarding the COVID vaccination program. One that is only, of course, now being planned and strategized, even as the race for the one of the candidates for this vaccine to be declared fit for worldwide use. We are still waiting for that kind of announcement to come in, but at the moment the focus is to set the distribution network in place. Dr. Rakesh Mishra, if I can come to you first, and you're quoted as saying you've written also a lot on this issue, and you believe that so far this country hasn't handled a vaccination program of this magnitude. This would require to cover the entire population. What, according to you, are the main challenges for us?
Yeah, so it's not only India. I mean, nobody has, in fact, India, if anything, has better experience of vaccination. So the challenges are very simple. One is most of these vaccines are likely to be two dose. So that means, and you have to find, and we are going to inject adult as well. For 20 to 30 days, these people have to be in the same place so you can go and inject them again. Sometimes they may not be. There are lots of other logistics and professional reasons people move. And then second thing is, if we are going to use the mRNA vaccine, we will require, as is very obvious now, we will require a cold chain of unprecedented kind. Never world has used mRNA vaccine, RNA-based vaccines. So they are very unstable, so they need to be stored at minus 70, minus 80 degree, and has to be transported in those conditions, unless just before the usage or a couple of weeks before usage. So you have to build a infrastructure of this sophistication all across the country, if those are the options that we are going to exercise. Having said that, you will need healthcare workers who can then administer so many people the vaccine. So we are talking about actually long drawn battle for several months, if not couple of years, before we'll be able to give the vaccine to sufficient number that we can attain herd immunity or safety to some. So these are basic major challenges, essentially logistic kind.
All right.
I mean, we can do these things to some degree, but I mean, significant scaling up of all these aspects will be needed.
Surely this will be a long drawn process, and of course, given the volume of our population, Dr. Mishra, like you rightly said, this cannot happen in a very quick fix sort of a way. This will take proper planning and a very staggered process is what I imagine. Dr. Bagai, coming to the point of efficacy, now, people have this question in their minds that different candidates are coming up with their claims. We have at least 2 vaccines internationally. They claim that they have over 90% efficacy, whereas the vaccine in India so far is claiming somewhere around above 60% efficacy. Is that good enough for our population? Because are we going to be dependent on the indigenously developed vaccine, or can we depend on the vaccines developed by other countries?
Good afternoon. I think the key on the core question of the long of vaccination program
is your question. I want all the viewers to understand that different vaccines will make different claims. It's a great sense of optimism and hope, but with caution. And the reason I'm using the word caution is that there is a general perception in a common person's mind that efficacy is equivalent to effectiveness. That's not the case. So when you say it is efficacious vaccine, that means it is 90% or 94%, as some of the companies have so far stated. That is in a very controlled and ideal ideal setting in which you have 2 parts. One is the vaccine part, and the second is the control. That's the placebo part. But unfortunately, there is one situation not different. Checking whether the is to normal healthy people, 40% having disease get vaccinated. So the marked distinction is very important. Let me also say that at the present moment, the numbers which we are dealing with is 30,000, 10,000, 30,000, 40,000 in control studies. That's not the true number.
Dr. Bagai, we are having a bit of a difficulty in your audio connection. We'll just try and fix it. Let me go across to Dr. Mishra with that question on the efficacy of the vaccine and also on the issue of who is ahead in the race. There's a lot of curiosity around which vaccine will ultimately make it or get the final regulatory approvals. How does it work, the roadmap in terms of getting the approval? Do we have to get international approvals before we vaccinate our population, or are the approvals only going to be, at a national level? Secondly, I also want to know from you that what exactly would be the roadmap like? I mean, these are clinical trials that we are talking about. Once that process is completed, what is the next move after that?
One thing is very clear, that you cannot administer a drug or vaccine unless it has been approved by the regulators in the country. Is clear. What regulators can do is that if the drug is given approval in Europe or America, where the process is very stringent, then they can give approval based on that after a very small trial. I mean, few thousand or few hundred
Okay.
people, or in a very extreme condition, they can even give at least some kind of approval based completely on US and or European approvals. But I think that will not be done. They will ask for small trials to be done. We don't need to go through a full-fledged trial because that's already been done, and so that will be the process of this. Now, who is ahead and all is a little bit of artificial thing. Now, three companies have come up with their results in addition to the Russian or Chinese or those sorts of things. So, for India, which is other than this Oxford, we are not producing any of the vaccine. mRNA vaccine production, we don't have even infrastructure, so we have to quickly set this up. That might be done fast, but it needs to be done. It is to be assembled. So, in fact, from a country point of view, I don't think it really matters who is that. Even if somebody is 1 month ahead or 6 months ahead, it doesn't matter. We are not going to get these vaccines so soon for our people, considering the size. We may get a symbolic what, a few million or
Okay.
100 million. Doesn't mean much. We need very, very large amount if we are talking about the population, at least the main population proportion of the people who need it. So I don't think we should worry so much about. We should be
Right.
happy that so far the vaccine research is going through something, I would say, like a dream run. It is never in history that within a year you are talking about approval and final administering to people. It's just simply fantastic. But having said that, we have no idea how long this protection will be. Whether once injected, we will be immune for 3 months, we will be immune for 6 months, or we will be immune beyond that. We might need every 6 months a boost because the protection doesn't stay beyond that. Also, that is to me is a big question. But having said that, so that's why we have to be there should be cautious optimism. That is why we should never think that the vaccine has come and now we can throw away our mask and all. Next several months, 6 months, we have to live with those vaccines, which is the mask and social
Absolutely.
distancing and so on. So that is most crucial thing.
Right. There is
That
a lot of things are still unknown, Dr. Mishra. Like you pointed out, that even after we are administered with the vaccine, we don't know for how long we really have that protection. So before we get all of that clarity, it's important to still maintain all the precautions. Since you raised the issue of the dosage and the kind of numbers that we are going to deal with, we just want to bring to our viewers notice the kind of doses that India might require. If you look at the facts there, India needs 1.7 billion vaccine doses. 80% of the population is above 14 years of age. So 25% of the population with antibodies by March 2021, according to estimate, is the population that we are looking at. And the dose per person, as of now, as per the reports that have been released till now, indicate that at least 2 doses per person would be required for a population of 1.3 million. Now, these are just the rough facts that we have. Dr. Bagai, if you're back with us, and like Dr. Mishra was saying, that it would be absolutely imprudent to even think of lowering our guards, hoping that, or rather believing that a vaccine is on its way. What are the important points you would like to make in this regard to the population at large when it comes to, while we maintain the optimism of getting a vaccine on time, we still have to maintain the COVID discipline and COVID appropriate behavior? Dr. Bagai, if you are with me, wanted to know from you the important points that you would like to make when it comes to the issue of COVID appropriate behavior, which must be sustained irrespective of whether a vaccine is on its way in the next 4 to 5 months.
Yeah, I think the vaccine will not come before the first half or the middle of next year. And the complete rollout of this vaccine will take at least 12 to 24 months in different phases in terms of prioritization of the given population. The only thing that can save us is three basic things. One is keep your mask on. It's your only shield. It's your only defense. Go out only if it's a must. Third is keep a very strict distance with other human beings, at least 6 feet to 8 feet and beyond. Keep your hands clean, and definitely at least the vulnerable group should take the flu vaccine in winter. That's important to protect yourself with the influenza vaccine this winter for all the population who are accessible to it and can afford it. I think it will help a great deal to protect against the other common viral infections in this winter.
Right. Dr. Sanjeev Bagai and Dr. Rakesh Mishra, I appreciate your joining us this afternoon and giving us clarity on so many issues. Of course, there's another warning that has come today about how the vaccine might also have side effects, and if all the state governments have been warned to prepare their health infrastructure accordingly, because this will be another challenge, another level of challenge of administering the vaccine to the population, prioritizing it in a way which, of course, right now we are not being told whether there is any such prioritizing list which is not announced, but it will be, of course, eventually prepared, and that will decide who gets the vaccine in what order. Thanks very much for joining us in this discussion and for listening into the conversation.